So for this project, I'll be using 3 yards of fabric by 45, and this is a doll face satin fabric. It's not your usual kind of doll face. This one is a little bit stretchy and it's, I don't know, it's just different. Okay, so this is what I'll be using to make this beautiful dress. So I've folded my fabric into two. We're going to cut the back part first before we cut the front part. So the neck width I'll be using for this dress is 3.5 inches. Then the neck depth is going to be 1.5 for the back. So I'm going to curve this to connect my points. My shoulder measurement is 16 inches. I'm going to divide that by 2, which will give me 8 inches. So I'm going to measure 8 inches from this point. Okay, so you can just measure from the center back to where you want the sleeve to end. It's either you measure from the center back or you measure from where your shoulder stopped. Okay, but from the midpoint, like from the center back, I'm going to measure 19 inches. So it all depends on how long or short you want your sleeve to be. Okay, from this mark here, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, from this point where I came down by 1 inch, I'm going to take a straight ruler and connect it to where I marked my neck width. Okay, for my bust point, I'm going to take my measurement from the shoulder line. Okay, my bust point is 11 inches, so I'm going to measure 11 inches from that line. My bust is 40 inches. I'm going to divide that by 4. So whatever your bust measurement is, divide that by 4. Okay, so 40 divided by 4 is going to give us 10 inches. I'm going to mark it here. This is our original bust measurement. I'm going to add an additional 4 inches to it. Okay, you can add 5 inches to it if you want it to be big, or 6 inches depending on how big or small you want it to be. But I feel like 4 inches is perfect, so I'm going to be adding 4 inches to 10, which will give me 14 inches. From this shoulder bevel, I'm going to measure our sleeve opening. In this case, I want my sleeve opening to be 9 inches, but if you want it to be big or small, it depends on what you want. Just go ahead and measure it, but 9 inches is perfect for me. So remember, this is our 19-inch mark. I'm going to take it down to this point, and I'm going to use a straight ruler to connect my points. From this point, I'm going to extend my line. So I'm going to look for a way to curve this. This is our bust measurement, which is 10 inches, and I added 4 inches to it, making it 14 inches. So I'm going to take this 14-inch mark all the way down to the hem. So the full length of this gown is 57 inches, but I'm going to make it 54 at this point because I'm going to be adding some ruffles at the hem. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead to cut out our back fabric. I'm going to use this to cut out our front pattern. So the difference between the front and the back is just the neck line and then the pleats that you're going to put in front. Alright, so I folded this fabric just the way I folded the back. Okay, I'm going to give 1.5 inch allowance for the front. Okay, so for the neck depth, I'm going to make it 7 inches. All right, so once you're comfortable with the neckline, go ahead and cut it. So I'm going to cut mine. I'm going to cut the entire fabric as well. So I'm going to go ahead to cut out the back neck for the back fabric. I'll cut upon the allowance I gave here. So for the slit opening, you're going to measure from your shoulder to where you want your slit to start from. So for this one, I want it to be 40. Let me make it 39. So I'm going to go over to my machine and sew. So I'm going to stitch it from this point where I want my slit to start from all the way to this point. So I'm going to press the seam open with an iron. I need this to lay flat, so I'm going to use a very hot iron to press it open. So I'm going to place my front fabric on my back fabric with the right sides facing each other. So I'm going to go over to my machine and stitch the shoulder. So I'll stitch the sides as well. I'm going to stitch it all the way down. So we've joined our shoulder and this is what it looks like at this point. Okay, to take care of the neck, you can either use a bias to finish the neckline or you can use a facing. I have a detailed tutorial on how to use a bias to make necklines, so I'm going to leave the link to that video in the description box below. So let me just show you guys how to cut a bias. I'm not going to go detail into cutting a bias. So you're going to place your fabric this way and you cut like this. So I'm measuring 2 inches, and later on I discovered that this 2 inches is quite big for this, so I used 1.5 later. So in case you're cutting, just go on and cut 1.5 inches. Okay, so this is what a bias looks like. If you draw it, you find out that it stretches, and it happens like this on every fabric. Once you cut it in bias, it's going to help it to stretch. That is the only way your neckline is going to get relaxed when you fix it. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've taken care of the neck. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my sleeve, but before you do this, make sure you overlock your fabric because you want to have a nice finishing. So I'm going to overlock it before I fold. So I'm going to fold in about 1/2 inch for this. So I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to go over to my machine and run a stitch on it to hold it in place. Alright, so before I take care of the slit, I'm going to be fixing my ruffles. Alright, so the height is 3 inches. Go ahead and measure the circumference of your dress, because what you're going to be cutting out should be 2 times the circumference of your dress. So if the circumference is 50, best know that the strip you're going to cut out will be 100. So I'm going to take this to my machine and run slow stitches on it, about 2 lines. So this will help me gather piece, and also it's going to help create the ruffles. So for the inside belt, the height is 2 inches, and then the length is going to be 22 inches. If you want to make it longer, please do. It depends on how fat you are, but 22 inches is perfect for me. So I'm going to fold it this way. I will close one end and I'll stitch all the way down. Okay, so to form the gathers, I'm going to pick 2 threads and then I'll draw to form the gathers. I'll draw and arrange. I'll draw, arrange until I have the gathers evenly distributed. I'm going to place my ruffle on the dress this way with the right sides facing each other. So I'll take this over to the machine and sew on it to attach it to the dress. Now for the belt, this is what we have. So I'm going to use something to turn this inside out. I'm using a pen casing. Okay, so if you have any other thing you want to use to turn your fabric inside out, please go ahead and do it. So I'll go ahead and give this a nice press. Okay, guys, it's time for us to fix our belt. All right, so to get where, like for this particular design, if you want to get it well, you're going to measure from the shoulder all the way to the half length. So my bust broad is 8 inches, so I'm going to measure 4 inches from the center. I'll mark it here, and I'm going to measure 4 inches from the same center to the other side. So I'm going to place my belt there. I'll use my pin to hold it in place for now. So on this other side, I'm going to place my belt on it as well. I'll take it over to the machine and run a straight stitch to hold it in place. If you want to snatch your entire waist, you can move it away from the bust point towards your side, but I'm going for a different look. That's why I decided to fix it here. Alright guys, so to take care of the slit, I'm going to first of all go over to my overlocker and overlock this. To finish out the slits, you can decide to tack this, or you can decide to use your machine and run a straight stitch on it, or you can use your hemming gum. In this case, I will be using my hemming gum. I don't want to stitch it. So I'm going to put my hemming gum inside this way. Okay, I'll use a very hot iron to hold this in place. So guys, our bubu dress is ready. This is what it's going to look like. At this point, you can just wear it to any occasion, but because I want to do extra, that's why I'm not going to be ending the video right now. Alright, so for those small designs you can see just in the center of the dress, I'm going to use this. I cut out 2.5 inches on both sides, so this is a perfect square. So I use an interfacing on this just to give it some weight to me. So I'll take this over to my machine and sew this round, leaving out a small space where I turn it inside out from. I don't want the neckline to be plain, so I lined it with some stones. I'm going to use a damp fabric over it and then a very hot iron to gum it to the neck. So you're going to use a very hot iron over it over and over again until you're sure the stone has adhered to the dress. The little appliques we created before, I've gone ahead to iron them. Okay, so they will lay flat, and I placed them in the center like this. I used some pins to hold them in place so that it won't move. So I'm going to use a matching thread to attach this in the middle. I'm going to attach a stone in the middle, just one stone. I need the sides to be flying, so I just want to attach the stone to the center. For the crystal, I use size 4 crystal bead. You can use size 6, you can use size 10. So I'm going to go over it so many times with my thread until I'm sure that the bead is firmly attached to the dress, and then I'll tie it off. Okay guys, so I'm going to go ahead to do the same thing to the other appliques. Alright, this is all about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got value for your time. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section below, and feel free to share this video with your family and friends. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it and if it was helpful to you. Feel free to subscribe if you've not subscribed already, and also don't forget to share this video with your family and friends. Until next time guys, keep staying safe, keep creating. I'll catch you all in my next video. Bye.